This is me, having an out-of-body experience. I'm flying down the front straight of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and crossing over the last yard of bricks that used to comprise the entire circuit. Now I'm an amateur racer, competing on the world-famous circuit that until a few years ago was only open to the pros. 2 weeks ago, Takuma Sato won the 101st Indy 500, a race that's so alluring to drivers that Formula One champion Fernando Alonso skipped the 2017 Monaco Grand Prix just to run at Indy. For this brief instant, however, Sato, Alonso, and I are almost equals. Somebody pinch me. Our heroes, Foyt, Andretti, Gurney, and countless others, they either forged a reputation at the track or suffered heartless defeats. Indy is racing's Mecca. This is where countless tinkerers, engineers, and mechanics plied their hopes and dreams. It's where the 1911 Marmon shocked the paddock with its single seat and rearview mirror. It's where the front drive Blue Crown Special showed that there was another way in 1947. And it's also the place where fellow racers first realized that Roger Penske had outfoxed them all in 1994 with a devilishly clever and powerful engine design. Now, the head of the Sportscar Vintage Racing Association is a guy named Tony Parella. He recognized Indy's draw to amateurs like me, and he hosted the SVR Ace first race on the track's infield oval in 2013.
You could go anywhere in the world, and if you say what's a racetrack you've heard of, they're going to heard of Indianapolis. You know, every Memorial Day for the last 101 years, we've had this spectacle, and you know, being a part of that and associating with that is a privilege to a racer. And there's literally, you'll see guys with tears rolling down their face that they're in awe of the fact that they're pulling out of Gasoline Alley onto the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
It was a hit. So for 2017, the SVRA held 2 weekends at Indy, including this one for those of us racing open-wheel cars. Now these machines ranged from the basic Formula Fords to later model Formula One cars, and of course, cars that actually raced at Indy. The folks who come here are incredibly passionate. And this is John Doonan. He's the head of Mazda's racing program, and I think it's fair to say, an Indy fanatic.
First time racing on the track at Indy, but I've been coming to the facility literally since I was 7 years old. Came here for the first time in 1977 with my grandfather and my dad. My first race was AJ Foyt's 4th win. Without a doubt, to be able to come here and drive across the bricks, it's you can't explain it.
Doonan is not alone. Philip Lewis came all the way from Bangkok to race his brutish Formula 5000.
The 500 is absolutely, it's the greatest spectacle on the planet. I can remember getting up and watching black and white television and watch the turbine cars back in the 70s. So Indy's always been on the radar, but never really as a dream to drive it. But I've been very keen in recent years. This is on my bucket list of racetrack to turn race laps.
Now these cars are the Shelby Cobras of the open wheel racing world. They're meant to provide about the same speed as a Formula One car, but with relatively cheap and crude American V8s. Today, a good F5000 car has about 600 horsepower, weighs only 1,200 pounds, and can scare the Nomex off of anyone with about $100,000 to spend. Now my car costs far less. It's one of 13 Formula Fords built by All-American racers in 1978. Formula Fords use a steel tube frame and a 1.6-liter Ford engine that was also found in the Pinto. In race tune, the motor makes only about 115 horsepower, but it feels quite strong in a car that weighs only 1,000 pounds. Since its debut in 1967, the Formula Ford has been a mainstay of amateur racing around the world, and a first step for aspiring drivers like James Hunt and Indy 500 winner Emerson Fittipaldi. Now, All-American Racers, you might remember, was started by Dan Gurney. Dan is the man, a racing hero. In 1967, he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans with AJ Foyt in a GT40. And then, just a week later, he won the Belgian Grand Prix in a car his company built. Now, I never totaled the dollars or the hours I spent restoring the car to racing trim, nor do I want to. It's a Gurney car, and that's enough for me. Gurney's Formula Ford is a wonderful thing to drive, which can be said about most Formula Fords. They're unfiltered and graceful, with enough speed to excite, but not too much to terrify. There's a couple of linked turns on the Indy road course, a left-right combination taken with the throttle pinned in 3rd gear. Done right, the car drifts just to the exit curving, kissing the tiny bumps that signal the track edge. I bring the car home in 8th place, relieved my performance hasn't smeared the Gurney name too much. Now, the end of every race is a rush of mixed emotions. The adrenaline's still flowing, and you don't want that experience to end. But you're also relieved. You're relieved that you didn't crash. In this case, there's the added satisfaction that in some infinitesimal way, I've left my mark on my own personal temple. For a certain group of people like me, the Brickyard holds something very special, and I can't wait for next season.